Welcome to That's Why We're Friends.
The podcast where we laugh a lot, talk about real life, and hold on to faith through it all.
We're two friends navigating the oldish season of life and celebrating the kind of friendships that make it all a little easier.
So whether you're feeling overwhelmed, hopeful, or just need a laugh, this podcast is for you.
Pull up a chair and join the conversation. Hey, Kara.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, do you remember the first time that you made me clean Monday ramen?
I do.
I do too, because I was not a ramen person, and you showed me that I could do ramen in a healthy way. And so their gluten-free ramen seasonings and organic noodles are so good. They're totally allergen friendly, and it's finally ramen that we and I can feel good about.
Yes, and seriously, I use the chicken ramen seasoning all the time. And I just ordered their new plant-based vegan protein powder. It is so amazing. It's just 8 clean ingredients, no soy or junk, and it actually tastes amazing.
Right? All of their stuff is gluten-free, dairy-free, non-GMO, and no MSG. So all the things. It's just bold, real food flavor that you can feel good about.
Yeah, we can't stop raving about it at our house. So here's the deal. Everybody who uses our special link with the coupon code CARA, all caps CARA, will get 10% off everything. And you can grab that code in the description of the show notes below.
Seriously, guys, try it. You're going to love it as much as we do. Clean Monday meals, clean ingredients, big flavor, happy you.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Kara.
How are you?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
I am doing great. Just, excited to have experienced all the things and kind of, turn the corner. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how fast it happens that you end up in a year, a month, and
right.
It happens fast. It's fun, but fast. There's a lot happening.
I feel like the holidays are almost like they feel almost like a vacation because you don't quite ever know the date.
Yes.
Or
even maybe the day of the week.
Yeah, in the week, I would say from about the 22nd, 23rd of December to New Year's Day, I'm always just like, what day is it? What's the date? I don't even know what's going on.
No, totally agree. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm excited for just where we're headed. Depending on how you're wired, I think for me, I love this time of year. I love getting a new planner. Whether or not I need a new planner is irrelevant. Because maybe I got one last year that's like an 18-month calendar.
That's why we're friends, Sarah.
But that's irrelevant that it would last me 6 more months. It's January and I want a new one.
And it makes no sense to change your calendar in June. Right?
No.
And I've even gone so far as to buy a 2-year planner, thinking I won't buy a new one.
I would never. No.
I still buy a new one. I don't know if I get tired of the cover. I don't know what's going on in my head, but it's like I need something fresh and clean and new.
Yeah, maybe I need to do some research on that. There's got to be some kind of an endorphin hit or something for those of us, because I know there's lots of people out there who are the same way. Yeah. And we both, I feel like, do paper calendars.
Well, I do an electronic calendar. Okay. Like I keep all of my life on my phone and computer. Okay. That way when I'm out places, I put it on my calendar and I know.
Right.
But I also keep a paper one for business and work stuff.
Yeah.
I don't keep a paper one for personal stuff.
Okay.
So I'm split.
Okay. Wow.
But I still like the feeling of writing things, and I like using different color pens. I don't know. It does something for my heart.
I know. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So are you like a New Year's resolution girl? Are you a word of the year girl? What's up with you and New Year's?
Yeah, I feel like I don't have like a firm, hard and fast, like every year is the same.
Yeah.
I think I kind of have had open hands of just, whether it's through our church or through different people, of being exposed to something new, like a new idea or, praying through a word. And so I've had years where it's been kind of the word thing where you've kind of been invited to like think about that or pray about having a word. I don't know that I've ever really been like a resolution, because I understand the reason why like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I do think that it's a good time for just a reset for me coming out of like November, December, and the fact that I don't maybe know what day of the week it is. I'm probably not doing the exact kind of routine of the different things that I do to just have good physical care, good, self-care and all of that. And so I do like that January is, the whole world is like coming together. We're going back to work. I'm going to be going back to school. We're getting into the new routines. And so with that, to me, is just kind of a natural reset. Yeah. And so I will think about, and am, in the process of thinking about, okay, Lord, is there something that you're saying or inviting me to that's new this year? But I would say for me, it's a very organic kind of process of if it feels like there's a theme or something there, I'm all in. And I have had years where there's like a word that I really felt like was from the Lord, but I'm not like, I have to have a word.
Yeah.
So where do you fall with all that?
Yeah, I definitely don't do resolutions anymore. I used to do them, and then like the rest of the population of the entire world, you find that, by February, March for sure, but February usually that's just out the window. Right. Nobody's keeping those resolutions. And so I stopped doing resolutions years ago when I felt like the Lord freed me from some, body image and food issues anyway, because those were always my resolutions. Sure. Just like, I'm never going to eat sugar again, or, I'm going to exercise like 1,000 hours every day. And then the word thing, yes and no. Yeah. I do feel like the Lord tells me some things in that fresh newness of a year, but I don't know that it's like a word specifically. Right. I do feel like over the last couple of months, I am hearing the word rest more. And it's not resting and don't do anything. Right. It's like working from rest and like not just constantly feeling like I'm drowning. And I've yet to figure that out in my life. So I'll let you know if I get there. But that's just something I feel like the Lord and I are processing is that rest. Yeah. So, but I can't say that I think that's necessarily my word for the year. Yeah.
And I also think, it's not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but there's also for the people who don't like, I don't do, it's not biblical. There's nowhere in the Bible that's like, God will give you a word for your year. And if you go back to 2020, everybody thought they had their, vision for the year in January. And then by, March, that was like, it all blew up. And so there's nothing to that as far as like, you have to do this or you shouldn't, or, it's however you can kind of start the year with the Lord. I think inviting him in, being intentional, thinking about what you're going to be doing, how you're going to spend your time, and just trying to align that with where he's leading you. I think that's the win. Is just being intentional with like, okay, God, I want to invite you into my work, into my family, into my, free time, into whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, it just kind of really presses home the point of always inviting him in on a consistent basis, because we know the Bible tells us that like we plan our own steps, but the Lord orders our path, right? Yes. And so if we're inviting him in, then even if we make a plan that isn't the direction he wants us to go, he's going to reroute us. Yes. And so I think that that's just a really good reminder for going into a new year, is like just invite him into every day and every situation. So that you're constantly just asking him, what's right for me today? Yes. And it's not just like a rigid, I made a plan and this is what I'm sticking to. Right. Come heck or high water. Right. And so it's like, no, because that's not always what God has for us.
So for me, literally that means planning with either an erasable pen. Or I do have some of those like, it's not white out like liquid paper, but it's like
that strip.
Yes. Yeah. And so I have those because if plans change, I do want to reflect that in my paper calendar. Yeah. And so I will go over.
Okay. So not to get off too far on a rabbit trail, but that strip white out stuff, you know what, if it doesn't go on perfectly smooth and there's like an edge that's crinkled, it really bothers me. Sorry. I know. Does that bother you?
Yeah. I mean, I usually do my best to like smooth it. I'm pretty careful because they're very cheaply made. At least the ones I've ordered before.
That's awesome.
Kind of that's awesome. Fall apart. But
well, speaking of whiteout, let's talk about some things that people would want to white out of their life with their health issues.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things. And for whatever reason, this is the time of year where everybody's thinking about that. And I think obviously the world kind of, feeds into that. You
Yeah.
see it everywhere
Yes.
on, social media and all the things. And so I think health is an area where you typically kind of see it the most. I mean, probably with finances and relationships, but health I feel like is the biggest. Whether that is with nutrition, food, weight, working out, kind of all of those together, or kind of where we're wanting to, lean the conversation and more of the idea of like just feeling good.
Yeah.
And I think that is a motivator. I think that can be the breaking point that we can get to at times where it's like, I don't feel good. And I want to feel good. And so I think knowing all of that as we've kind of been, dreaming about this year, and specifically, obviously, like starting in January, of kind of, leaning into what is already happening. But okay, how can we look at this from a foundation that's biblical, not worldly? Because health does matter to God. And we'll talk about some of the scriptures that talk to us about our bodies and health. And so I think a lot of times we look at what we perceive as to be a negative for me and my own perception of how I look or how I feel. But how the feeling part is really real of just feeling healthy, having energy, getting good sleep. As we get older, thinking about our bones and our joints and movement and flexibility and all of those things. That is real and valid. It's not something that we just ignore because, well, I don't want to be obsessed with how I look.
Right.
True. But it's like anything else. You got the two ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Where I just don't care and it's just do what I want, when I want, eat what I want. And that's not, you can't support that biblically.
Right.
And then the other of super obsessed with, how I look and all those things, then that also is not supported. And so if we look at it through the lens of the instructions that God has given us in his words, we find the healthy, moderate place in the middle where we kind of want to live from.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you're saying to me, like, you're not against people setting goals, but really we're saying we're against the striving of it, right?
Yeah, the striving of it. But I also would say the completely superficial.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like you can't ever have a goal that's tied to something superficial. I'm not saying that. But if that's your only goal,
Right.
I would just dig a little bit deeper. And we're going to talk about why stuff here in a minute. But to just, okay, why? If it is something purely superficial, then it's the why process that we'll talk about in a little bit of God. It's not that doesn't matter, but it's like there's always a deeper
root to it. Yeah, for sure. I feel like, when you see people who are striving for what we're going to call it health, we just have this general term, right? Health. Yeah. And so a lot of times we look at health as like someone's physique or their weight or, how well they work out. Like it's those things, but those things are just the surface that we get to see, like we've talked about before, like social media, it's kind of like we see the surface and the highlight reel. Yeah. It's the same with people's health. It was this overarching umbrella.
Right.
But there's so much more that's so deep.
Yes.
And it goes way back.
Yes.
It goes way back to like childhood things. Yeah. It goes back to things people have said to you, to false beliefs that the enemy has put over you. Like there's so much rooted in our health that is actually also rooted in our soul.
Yes.
And so it's just finding those things and getting them in alignment with God's word.
Yes. Well, so I think one of the key things of what you're saying is I cannot look at a person and just look at the outside and declare health or not.
Correct.
Because
I'll tell you just, from the work I do, like if you look at someone who, let's call it a bikini model, and you look at someone who is on the other flip side, a professional CrossFit athlete, females, obviously, we're going to talk about females here. So a bikini model, we look at those bodies and we think that's healthy because they're thin or their body has this appearance.
Right.
But the truth is that person is probably starving themselves to look a certain way to keep a job. And they're probably spending most of their days with people telling them that their body isn't right.
Right.
And they also then have to deal with, knowing that all their photos are photoshopped. Like, my body's not good enough because it's getting photoshopped. Then on the other hand, you've got someone who maybe is a CrossFit athlete, a female, and you look at that and it's like their bodies are a size that is probably something that we all would like. And they've got these like very defined muscles. And I'm not saying that they're unhealthy, but I'm saying like you also don't see the flip side of the fact that is 12 hours of work every single day. It is work to feed your body the exact nutrients that it needs every day without missing a beat. There are no like days of I ate cake for lunch. There are no hamburgers. Like,
I'm out.
It is, it is like an exact thing. It is
Right.
also then typically 6 to 8 hours of hardcore training every day. And so the average woman doesn't want either of those lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we look at these things as like our goal is what we want our body to look like. Either this super thin, curvy, beautiful woman that we think is like perfect, or this person that we see all these muscles and we're like, I'd just like to be toned. Well, both of those are extreme in what their day-to-day looks like.
Yeah.
And the majority of the world doesn't have the extreme time to put into that. And I will say, even I feel like mentally both of those worlds cause problems down the road.
Sure.
For when women come out of them. Just the stories I've heard, and then the people I've worked with and seen, like I've worked with a professional dancer who like had so many mental problems because of the struggle of just having to guard the body and the weight and the food, and it just becomes a mental struggle for people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
There's a lot.
So we're we're taking a snapshot in January to look at women's health.
Yeah.
We're gonna scratch the surface. So this won't be the only time that we talk about it. And who knows? We're still planning for the year. Maybe we end up going a little bit into February.
Right.
We don't know. We're still we're still figuring that out. But we do want to set a foundation that is biblical, because that's who we are. That's what kind of drives everything that we do. And so a few verses that are great kind of anchor points. The first one is in 1 Corinthians 6, and that's where we find the passage that talks about our body being a temple of the Holy Spirit, that He indwells us. And it's a very powerful, like, full passage. It's not, if you really sit with that of understanding, okay, my body is a temple the Holy Spirit lives in. And so that's one of the places where we kind of start to build this foundation for, okay, my physical body does matter. In Romans 12:1, we're instructed to offer our bodies as a living sacrifice, that this is a good and pleasing act of worship to the Lord. So we see kind of our body involved in that as well. And then a few different times in Scripture, one of them is Mark 12:30, where it talks about, loving God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength.
Right.
So again, there's kind of this physical aspect to who we are.
Yeah.
And obviously we know we're made in God's image. And so we are body, mind, soul, and spirit. We're all of that. And so it does matter. And I think one of the key words that's a theme in Scripture in multiple ways, but that we really apply to this, is the idea of stewardship.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Stewarding our bodies and just keeping in mind that our bodies are part of who we are. We talked about this, I can't remember if it was November or December, about how we are a whole person. Our mind, body, and soul, like we are all one unit. And so if one part of you is hurting, let's just like think about when you get a paper cut, how just one finger hurting like kind of really affects your whole day and just how well you function in life, right? Especially if it's on your dominant hand and all the things. And so it's just like the same way with our mind, body, and soul. If one part of us is struggling, the other parts are going to struggle too. And so it's stewarding our body in a way that we can serve the Lord, right? Because that's really what our body was given to us for. Our body wasn't given to us for someone else to think that we have achieved an aesthetic or to be idolized by someone else as, something that is good and perfect. And I know it hits home hard, right? And so I think we look at other women and we think, I want that body. But God gave us different bodies for a reason, and he called our bodies good.
Yes.
Right? And so our body, the way he designed it, the shape he gave us, it is good. Now, is it good that we have allowed ourselves to idolize food or to take food even to the extreme of being sinful? And so then we've harmed our body and our body doesn't function well. You know, we're carrying extra weight because we've chosen food over choosing God, like in certain instances, like you think about emotional eating, comfort, right? And so, no, those things aren't good, but those are choices we've made. Yeah. It's not because God did not create our body good.
Right.
And so, if we can find that path of living our health under his umbrella of grace, then we can live fully and abundantly in the body he's given us.
Yes, so good. And I think the big part of that too is inviting him into that so that determining what the picture of health looks like for me is something I determine with the Lord. Because there's nothing in Scripture that speaks to our physical bodies and how they should look.
Right.
There, you're not going to find anything about size, a number on a scale, anything. He speaks to our heart of, when it comes to, like you said, the striving or gluttony of, just totally giving into our flesh and our taste buds. So he'll speak to those things, but there is nothing in Scripture that, which of course, because to your point, we all have different genetic makeup. We all have different physical abilities. And so it is not about having a physical body that's pleasing to him. It is about, he is pleased with us no matter what.
Right.
And wherever we are in that journey, it's not about doing it to earn his favor or his love or anything. We have all of that right now today, regardless of where we're at on the spectrum. It's about our soul and our spirit. And when those are healthy and we've invited him in, then I think the result of that is going to be a body that is in a healthier place.
Right.
Because like you said, I can't separate the two. If I am starving myself and working out 5 hours a day to have this healthy looking physical body, okay, well, I'm out of alignment. Yeah. Because my soul, my spirit, and my mind are not healthy.
Right.
Because they're, God is never going to ask us to do that. And fasting and, starving ourselves are not at all the same thing.
Right. And
so inviting him in is always going to be the starting place.
Yeah. I just think too, like obsessing over something, whether it is obsessing over depriving myself of something or obsessing over how much I work out and how much I'm doing, or obsessing over having no rules at all and just being completely carefree. Like all of those things become this like mental obsession. Yeah. And so none of those things should be taking the place of God in our minds. And that's really what begins to happen. Like we begin to just like let that infiltrate every piece of who we are instead of inviting him in and letting him walk with us beside, in those things. Yeah. So
that was one of my key indicators. And in a few weeks, we're going to talk more of just our personal journeys, but how much time I was spending thinking about what I was going to do or what I had done. Or that was definitely one of the ways that the Lord was like, this isn't good. This was never meant to be this much of your focus and your thought and your time and attention. So, okay. So we do want to talk just practically about if we are wanting to have a healthy year, have a healthy life, that there are practical, we talk about training plans at our church a lot, and so it's not bad to have a plan. For anything that we want to do, any goal, financial or whatever.
In fact, Jesus says in the New Testament, there's a passage where he's talking about someone building a building, and he says if you don't count the cost and make the plan, and then you get halfway into that building project and you can't finish it, people are going to look at you and just consider you a failure,
Yes.
right? Everyone who's going to set out to build a building makes a plan.
Yes.
They know their budget, they know the blueprints, like they know all the things,
Yes.
right? It's the same for any other goal in our life.
So it
we
is
have
okay
to have a blueprint.
to have a plan.
Yeah.
Yes. And so kind of what we mentioned earlier, though, is it's all about the why.
Yep.
And that's where we want to start.
Yeah.
Of, okay, here's where I'm thinking I want to grow in health this year. Why this?
Yeah.
That really drilling down, which you kind of have a great kind of practice that you walk people through of figuring out their why.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't create this. The whys, the question, the whys, it's a thing that's out there. It's all over the place. It's used in corporate America, but I do use it with clients. And so I thought it'd be fun if we just do it here live.
Okay. Oh, gosh. All right.
So it's just super simple. You just ask yourself why, like multiple times from your answer. And then you get down to your like ultimate why. Okay. So like, what is a goal that you have regarding your health this year?
Can it be a continuation of something that I've already been doing?
Of
or
course.
does it need to be, okay.
Yeah.
So then I would say that my goal really is to continue, I would say since last summer, I really just found a good rhythm and motivation with movement. It's kind of the word, I went to versus like, it is working out, but it's just, I don't know if the goal that I would say it's every day, but I would say, 4 to 5 days a week that I'm having that intentional movement, whether it's taking a walk, actually going to the, gym in our neighborhood and doing some cardio. And you and my husband have inspired me to, poke my head into the room with all the scary weight machines, and Paul's been really sweet, and you have too, with just kind of coaching me and helping me, feel comfortable with, building up my strength and having muscle, and to, protect my bones as I get older, and just all those reasons. And so really I'm excited because I feel like my goal is around just continuing those habits.
Mm-hmm. So why?
Okay.
So why do you want to continue those habits?
I would say why because I've been doing it long enough now that I can tell I've seen some results that I like, that I've never, I've always been a yoga person and I still love yoga. It just doesn't fit time wise right now. I'm hoping that after I graduate, I can work that back into what I'm doing. But I would say I have noticed the difference just in overall how I feel, mental health. I've seen where I can do more weight than I could do, 8 months ago. And hear me, that's going from like 5 pounds to 10 pounds.
Everybody has to move up. You got to start at the bottom of the ladder to get to the top.
And so I don't want to lose that because I have made progress. So
why is the mental part and the physical part important to you?
To me, I would say because it's knowing, being 47, knowing what's important for the next few decades, like wanting to be able to stay healthy and active. And I know that this is part of the way to get there.
So why do you want to stay healthy and active over the next few decades?
Because I love my life. I love knowing who I am in this season of life, with just where Paul and I are at, and with, the kids being in the season of life that they're in, and hopefully having, grandbabies at some point, and just enjoying, obviously I'm about to start a new career.
Yeah.
And so I want to be well for as long as I can, to enjoy the life that God has given me and walk in the purpose that he's giving me and do it well.
And so when you say what you just said, I want to feel well and enjoy the life God's given me and walk fully in the purpose he's given me, does that feel to you like peace and like that is kind of my ultimate why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See how easy
I feel
that
like
is?
I kind of got chills.
It's super easy. So you just ask yourself, like, the first question is, what is my goal? And then after you answer that, like, what is my goal? My goal is XYZ. Yours was like, I want to keep moving and working out and doing the weights. And then, well, why?
Yeah.
And then, well, why? And then why? And then you just keep asking why till you sort of get to this place of what is the reason?
That's so great.
And really what I boil this down to with clients is I feel like we make every decision in our lives based out of fear or love. And when you get to a place where your why is, I want to feel really good because I love the life God has given me and I want to continue to feel good so that I can continue to walk in the purpose that He's given me and placed in my life, then that is love. You know, because you're not saying I want to be a certain size and be a certain weight so that people look at me and think, wow, what a great body. So walking in the path God's given you and like the life that He's given you and wanting to feel good for that, that is love. The flip side of it is what I said is like, I want to be this weight. I want to be this size. I want people to look at my body and remember how great my body looked. That is all fear.
Yeah.
That's fear-based of, I feel like if I look a certain way, the world loves me and accepts me.
Yeah.
But in that fear-based decision, I then become obsessive about my food, obsessive about my workouts, obsessive about control, right? And so it leads me more down this path of fear and controlling than down the path of love that God is like, here's an abundant life. Yes, be fit, be well, work out, do the things, but go enjoy it.
Right.
Right? And it's not just like this constant obsessing of, you know, I mean, your workout takes up 45 minutes, an hour of your day. That's great. I mean, like, that's just normal.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes 30 minutes. If I look at it, it's 30 minutes.
Yeah. So it's just like finding that balance of not being completely obsessed.
Wow. It makes me emotional. Obviously, I wasn't anticipating crying in today's episode, but I think because for me, knowing for so many decades, I was what you described, where the goal was numbers based or size based, and I don't think I had even really fully recognized the shift that God has just given me that freedom in my mind. And it's such, when you have been a slave to that and you know what that feels like, and the freedom, experiencing the freedom that He can give you, it is emotional because you know, I think we both have just, there have been so many years and decades spent over here, and it's just, it's no way to live. And so to be fully over here in this different space, thinking about those things is, it's just, I'm so grateful for just his love and healing and just patience, you know, to walk out that journey with us. So,
well, and ultimately that's what it's about, is inviting Him into the space. Right. And, you know, we would never tell someone who was addicted to pornography or alcohol, don't invite God into that place. Just fix it. Like, figure out how to fix it on your own.
Yeah.
We always want to invite God into every place in our life that is sin. And obsessing over your food and your body is sin. It absolutely is. It's just misplaced worship.
Yes. It's the idol. We're the idol. And we want to worship, and we want others to worship what we're trying to, you know, create.
Right. Yeah.
Don't want to go down that road.
No. So, you know, we wanted to leave people for sure with that why. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we move into what we've got the rest of this month?
Well, I think we are going to, so, you know, starting with the why then does allow us to be realistic about, you know, the what and the how. And so kind of like you said, of like the what and the how can't be that I'm going to eat, you know, grilled chicken and steamed broccoli 3 times a day and that's all I'm going to eat this year. I'm going to do 6 hours like that's, you know, that's not a realistic long-term, you know, how and why. And so we have a free download this month that's it's a real general guide to kind of help you really start with that why, like you said, because I do think once you hit that point where you really do have your why, then that can help you then with grace think about, okay, so then what does that look like? And so, like I said, for me, you know, have there been weeks when I have done something 7 days a week? sure. But that's not my goal.
Sure.
Like my goal, I think, would be, if I wrote it down, would be 4 to 5 days a week that I just have that intentional, whether it's, 20, 30 minutes of cardio or some, cardio plus weights or, a nice long walk. It totally varies. But I keep it a little more loose, that I just know I want to just be intentional with that 4 to 5 days a week.
Right.
And if it ends up being 6 days, great. If it ends up being 3 days or what, or if I get sick and it's like, no problem.
Yeah.
All the grace in that, but that's kind of what I'm shooting for. And then I really try to look at what I enjoy doing. And I've found a rhythm right now with, I usually go with Paul in the morning. And I enjoy that, keeps me motivated. And then I would say my other motivating factor really just kind of is the time that I've already put in.
Yeah.
That has started to motivate me to keep going. And so really those are, that sounds, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like when I think about that's my what and how, it doesn't feel it's my old me would be trying to say, Mondays I'm going to do this from this to this, and Tuesdays I'm going to, but that isn't what got me where I am.
Right.
It's been a much more loose general. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, my thoughts are that when we choose a path that is grace-filled, we stick with it. When we choose a path that is very controlling, we don't. And I like to equate it like in the Old Testament, there was the law, and in the New Testament, there's grace. Like the law, tells you don't steal, but grace tells you be generous. So there's this balance of like, okay, there are real scientific things to your body. Like the type of food you eat affects, everything from how you feel, how your body looks, also how mentally clear you are, to how maybe types of food you eat like affect you, and you have like mood disorders, or you have negative thoughts, your actions aren't great, right? And it like, so food affects you, right? So that's a scientific thing. But we can't choose chicken and broccoli because we like are trying to control something so much. And because what'll happen is that if we just choose that every single day for months on end, if you could do that,
right,
eventually you're going to have a break.
Right.
There's going to be a vacation, a holiday, a birthday, like something's going to happen, and you're going to like eat a cookie or eat some ice cream or whatever. And it's going to send you into this spiral because you've chosen this like weird control for so long. And it's like, okay, there's got to be some grace and some give. And, I believe that if we, as adults, if we walk by the Spirit and we know that we can do anything we want, just like Paul says, though, like, is anything good for you? Like, are all the things, you can do everything. Right. You can eat all the things, but are they all good for you? Right. And so if we take that balance of like, no, okay, I know ice cream may not be the best choice for my body, but I know I can have it anytime I want. It actually like takes away this like desire to want to eat it all the time, because I'm an adult and I can eat it whenever I want, but I know that I'm not going to feel good if I eat it whenever I want. Right. I think it's for movement. It's the same thing. Like there's two parts to it as we get older. Number one is our bodies can't physically handle like the hardcore day, every single day, hard weightlifting sessions or, hard running sessions or whatever it is that's your thing. That's like the hard, your body can't, like it's going to break down. And so, our joints get older, everything gets older. Yeah. And so there has to be a little bit of like, what is known in the workout world as active recovery. So for me, my active recovery day may just be like just a walk, or my active recovery day may be, I'm just going to go in my living room for 10 minutes and I'm going to do some stretching, some deep breathing. Like those things do just as much for our cells as going out and doing deadlifts, with heavy weights. So it's finding that balance, right? And it's not, I hate to call it moderation, but
it's avoiding the extremes.
It is avoiding the extremes. Because I also feel like in moderation, we can find extremes.
Right.
Because it depends on your definition of moderation.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
but it's finding just that gentle, peaceful path in the middle where we're not just like trying to control everything in our life.
And avoiding the fads.
Yeah.
I think avoiding anything that's like the new thing that everybody like,
The new thing. Yeah. In this new year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really good. So that, that freebie is going to be there just to kind of help if you do want to kind of,
Goal setting.
set a goal or whatever. And then, a secondary freebie that I'll mention real quick, just cause we're talking about the freebies, is one, that's more of a devotionally driven to be intentional about incorporating stillness, silence, and solitude as we start the year. It's such a great practice for all year long. I think the hope would be that we kind of start the practice that we then carry it throughout the year. But that'll be another freebie that's available on the website.
Yeah.
So.
And our website, that's why we're friends.com. Just there's a tab right at the top.
Yep.
It says freebies. Yep. It's great. It's great.
Thanks.
Sarah did a great job setting that up.
Okay, so as we think about the rest of this month, we're super excited about next week. We have a special guest.
Yes, we do. Dr. Brooke Miller is going to be with us. She's talking all things pelvic floor health, which was a really fun episode. It's
going to be very informative, very fun.
Very fun and very, just all the things. We're going to talk about oldish women and our pelvic floor and why it needs to be healthy.
Yes.
So that was just a great conversation that we had with her.
It's going to be medically accurate. So we did do kind of a little warning at the beginning of the episode.
She is a doctor and she knows all things. She's sort of found her pelvic floor health in general, new moms and everything, but she has found this niche with, perimenopause and menopausal women and she knows all the stuff. Yeah. So that's going to be great. And you won't want to miss that for sure. And then we will talk about towards the end of January some food and body image things. We both have a journey that we've been on, throughout our lives, and another reason that we're friends. Yes. We came together and we were like, here's my journey, and we're like, wow. They match up a lot. Yes. So and
what I love the most about those, and I know we'll get into this, is just the way that God brought healing to us through His Word. Was very much the same words. Yeah. And so that was just like unreal when we started unpacking that together. It was just so cool to see his fingerprints all over that. So we're really excited to continue to talk about these things. And as always, like, we love hearing from our listeners about the topics that you're passionate about, that you're curious about. And so we kind of have a plan for the next few weeks. But that could go, maybe into February, maybe not. We'll just we're kind of holding it loosely to see how it continues to go. But we're excited. It's an important topic, and it's just near and dear to both of us. And so it's going to be great.
I'm so excited to move forward in January.
I know, me too.
And with that, I have one quick question.
Okay.
Is your tree still up or down?
Down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I needed to be pretty quick with it this year
because you've got a lot coming up.
So I didn't have time to let that linger. So
I'm always give myself till January 30th.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, so it's up.
Yeah,
it'll be up for a little bit longer.
That's okay.
I actually really enjoy the lights. I'm always a little sad when they're gone.
That is my favorite. I think we've talked about it on some of the episodes in December, but just getting up in the morning and I literally will journal like, thank you, Lord, for Christmas tree lights and timers that make them just, be on when I want
when
them
you
to
wake
be
up.
on. So it is one of the best parts about the season.
I agree. I definitely agree. So, what are you going to do to enjoy the life God gave you this week?
So, actually really excited. On Friday, I have orientation so I'm in grad school doing the professional counseling. So this year is all about getting my clinical hours. And so I'm working with a great Christian counseling practice in our area. And so the orientation for that is this week. And so I get to go just meet some more of the people and find out more about the logistics of, how it's going to work week in and week out, and setting my hours for when I'll be meeting with clients. And so it's like, okay, here we go. School starts next week, but the orientation, I'm really, really excited excited.
And I'm excited for you. Like, it's going to be so much fun to watch you walk through that.
Thanks. I'm excited.
And I promise I'll give you some practice.
I know you will. It'll be good. What about great. You? How are you going to enjoy?
You know what? Actually, you know what I'm going to enjoy this week? We actually have a fairly clear weekend.
Okay.
And I'm going to just enjoy resting and being around the house. Maybe I'll take down my tree. Who knows? But we'll see. I just am kind of ready to rest. The fall was super busy. The holidays were busy, and just would like a little downtime with my husband. I always look forward to the spring. I'm going to call January spring, which I know it's not quite, but the weekends slow down because, fall, we're just football and going, and the weekends slow down. And I feel like we get a lot of time sitting out on our back porch, just kind of watching TV or whatever under the heaters. We have some great heaters on our back porch, and I enjoy that.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, until next week.
Right. Enjoy the life that God's given you.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks so much for spending time with us today on That's Why We're Friends.
We hope you laughed, felt encouraged, and are walking away with a little more hope for your day.
If you love this episode, make sure to follow the podcast so you never miss what's next.
And share it with a friend who needs a little encouragement, because that's why we're friends.
Some products or services we mention may be paid promotions. Any advice shared should be confirmed with a qualified professional. Our conversations and opinions are meant for encouragement and entertainment only.